What's going on, guys? The J-Man here, bringing you a World of Tanks video, and today I'm going to be talking about light tanks. As you can tell, I have my Tier 8 Premium M41 Brazilian Bulldog, and this was actually on sale on the site like a month or two ago, and I love the Walker Bulldog. It's an amazing tank, and even better, that's a tier higher and gets me more credits. So obviously I buy it, and I like playing light tanks, and I want something I could have that I'd use quite a bit. And as you can tell, I've used it quite a bit. I've dealt some good damage in it. I have my first Mark of Excellence on it. And light tanks and medium tanks are kind of what I use most of the time. And I just love using them. They're amazing vehicles. It's fits more of my style of gameplay. I like to rush. I like to push up. I'm very aggressive when I play World of Tanks, especially if I'm in a light tank or a higher tier tank. But yeah, anyways, so I'm going to show you some gameplay and kind of talk about like what it is to use when you're using a light tank and what to think about and stuff like that too. The biggest reason I'm kind of showing this is I've noticed there's newer players in World of Tanks, especially low tier players, and people not quite understanding how to use light tanks, or if you're with a light tank, you're going to be paired up at least a minimum. There's going to be tiers higher than you, and that's just the nature of the game with light tanks. If not, they're going to be going against these lower tier vehicles and just demolishing them, and it's just not fair. So this is kind of a cool way to kind of even things out, and I like that World of Tanks did that, and it's a really cool thing to do, and I hope that they keep doing that, and it's awesome. I obviously they can keep doing that to make things fair and everything too. And so as you can tell, this one is a tier 8, so it's going to play up to tier 10 regardless of what rank you are. It's just like the T49 is a tier 8 and plays up to tier 10 anyways, and it's going to match up minimum with tier 9 tanks. Same thing with this on minimum tier 9 tanks, even if it is a premium. So even better. This one I believe has a 90mm gun. The cool thing is actually with this, let's see if I can, supplies for the vehicle, if I can remember where the hell I am. There we go. So the cool thing is with this tank, it gets the high explosive, high penetration rounds. So you can see penetration is anywhere from 77 to 128 millimeters. Average damage, I believe, in this is like 290, 300, which is really, or 310, which is really, really, really nice. Especially if you can get the side of the vehicle or the back. Obviously, it's a tree, so it's if you get a clean shot on it and not the tracks, you should have pretty good penetration. It fires heat, which has a higher penetration. I believe the average penetration for this one's 270, so it's a huge jump from around 110 up to 270. So for sure your heat are gonna make it through. It's not as big of a punch. I believe it's like 240 average damage, and then obviously you have an explosive, which has less penetration. I have no idea why would you even use this one. It's kind of stupid to use this when you have high explosive and heat. So I bring a bunch of heat, and I bring a bunch of my high explosive, high penetration with this specific vehicle. Obviously you pick whatever you want to do. Always have a good mix of everything. Obviously different for this tank. And so yeah, so that's that. The thing with the light tanks you have to remember is that they're light tanks. Their armor is really, really thin. So if you look at the details of armor for this vehicle, the max is 350, or not 350, 50 millimeters, and that's on the front. But it's pretty well angled. It's decently well angled. So I've gotten some bounces off of this depending on the caliber of the gun that you're going against, obviously. But you're gonna get hit regardless of where people are aiming at you. But they're not meant to be brawlers. They're meant to be conceal, find enemy, maybe take a shot, and then back away. And what I see a lot of people with light tanks doing is not concealing, going to spot the enemy, but trying to fight it out, and you really can't do that with a light tank. I've had light tanks, you can chase another light tank, but kind of be aware what kind of light tank you are. If you're going against an auto-loading light tank, chances are if you're not an auto-loader, you're probably going to lose that fight. But yeah, so there's that. And if you guys have noticed the new update with the World of Tanks, is you can see where the modules are, so you can see where you can ammo rack somebody, where their crews are sitting, what part of the tracks there are. But the biggest, I think, is this big, the ammunition, where the crew sits. and where the engine sits. So you can actually figure out, oh, there's the engine. If I shoot it from here, I should be able to pen the engine, damage it, especially if you have some of the better perks and skills for cruise, where your damage module is better too. That'll help. But this is the one that you want to kind of look at, so you can kind of see what your vehicle is, where you probably don't want to show too much of. So if you're going to engage this Brazilian Bulldog, you want to get it from the right, obviously. That's where its ammo rack is going to be. So anyways, we're going to go into the video after this, and I'll kind of talk about kind of what to do in the late tank and stuff like that too, or why I find beneficial. Biggest thing, when you're spotting, you get 50% of the experience from spotting. So you can have a really, really good game with just spotting and not firing a single round, and obviously that's better for you because you're going to make more money in the bank if you do that. So we'll go into the next video here in a second. Alright, so here we are, M41 Brazilian Bulldog in the queue. I think the queue's here for a minute or so. So yeah, we're about to get into it. I can't remember what map this is. It's the one with the magical forest. It'll it'll say it when it comes up, so why do I even do that? I'm dumb. Don't mind me, guys, I'm an idiot. I like making a fool of myself. Anyways, like I said before, the M41 Brazilian Bulldog is actually a pretty good tank, actually. It's decently fast. It's a tier 8, so it has a little, a 950 HP, which is really, really nice. A couple extra hits, and you should be able to, be able to spot or take on tier 7 tanks pretty easily, which you'll see in this gameplay. Actually, I take an Awful Panther on, which, if you don't know what that is the former tier 7 German tank, which was replaced by the Speerpanzer, or Speerpanzer, whatever it is. It's the autoloader light tank that's a little troll of a tank too, because it's really small and really quick. It's the one right before you get the RU-251. And yeah, I think we're about to get it here in a minute, or in a few seconds here, about to get into the match. But yeah, the top speed for this one is a little slower than Walker Bulldog. You don't get the autoloader like you do with the Walker Bulldog. Like I showed earlier, that's a 90 millimeter tank. I think it's the same gun that you get on the T49 when you first unlock it, is this gun. Which I didn't realize how to use that gun very well. But now that I played this Brazilian Bulldog, I've learned pretty well how it works. So here we are in Moravanca. That's the name of this freaking map. So there it is. Right side's the magical forest, and left is that one lane where everyone kind of bunkers down in. Most people don't ever go through town. Some people do. You have light tanks, mini tanks kind of maneuver the way in there, and heavies too. So I like going to the magical forest a lot of times, or I go towards the hill and spot, especially if I'm the north side of Moravanca. And that's exactly what I do. Me and my fellow light tank, which you'll see what you're not supposed to do as light tank does here in a minute, or just a couple seconds once we get into it. I usually say a minute. God, I'm just... Shut up, John. Shut up. Alright, anyways. So yeah, here we go. Starting up, like I said, the light tank, you're meant to be... The reason why you're fast is you're meant to push up. You're meant to be aggressive. You're meant to do... So this bulldog... It's a bulldog? That's a bulldog. Yeah, it's a bulldog. My little cousin. You're meant to push up. So you're meant to push up, you have high camo, and the cool thing is with light tanks is you don't lose your camo when you are driving. So if you can find bushes, hide behind bushes, you should be able to spot without being spotted and continue to move. So unlike other tanks, if you move at all, you completely lose your camo. Light tanks do not have this problem, which is a really cool perk. The reason they're scout tanks, they're meant to push up. So this bulldog is pushing up, spotting, putting back. So he's actually doing what you're meant to do: push up, spot, pull back, push up, spot, pull back. So he does a really good job doing that. I haven't done anything. I've spotted maybe a vehicle here or there. So right there, I spot a vehicle. I get credit. I get partial credit for that kill, which is really, really nice. And that adds up too. So that Tiger P, I have not, and so I'm not firing because I'm in the bush, and if I fire, I will be seen. Reason being is I can see through the bush. There's nothing else in front of me. Um, if you can see through the bush, you're too close to the bush. You can fire through it. If you can't see the bush, you can fire through it and you won't be spotted unless obviously somebody has the clear line of sight of you. But if you're completely covered by the bush and they're just in front of you and you fire through the bush and you can't see through the bush, like physically see through the bush, you can just see the outline of the vehicle like you do there, the red outline. You can't. So I get spotted, so I'm like, well, screw it, I'll just take a shot. So I do 53 damage. Once again, that's the bad thing with HE rounds. You only do a little bit of damage, but you do can track vehicles pretty easily with it and stuff like that too. So here we go, I get a nice side shot. There it is. I get a nice side shot, a clean penetration on that E75, making him pull back. Oh no, I switched my heat rounds. Yep, I switched to my heat rounds because I knew I was going to get a side shot on the E75. So there you go, side shots on the E75. Once again, I'm spotting everything, so I'm getting some spotted target hits, which is really nice. So there's a T49 dead for you right there. So yep, see, spotted again. Those rack up, and it's really nice. Like I said, you get 50% of what they get, of what whoever shot it does, which is why it takes so long for you to grind through artillery, just because you need somebody to spot for you, which is unfortunate. So here I go, I see the Awful Panther there. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's called the Awful Panther for a reason. It's a tier 7 German tank that you can no longer get unless you already gotten it. So I make the bad decision of ramming him, and I lose a lot of my health. And he has a faster reload than me, and he's gonna be able to penetrate me every single time. I get lucky though. Since I'm shooting heat, I'm able to penetrate pretty well in there and start a fire, which helped me win that battle. So I have 119 health left. I'm a one shot for anything. Hell, they can even ram me and I will die. So I'm gonna go push up with these guys. Yep, because they already lost the vehicle. But they pretty much have it. But this T110E5, I'm gonna do what everyone loves doing. He gets tracked, so I'm gonna track the other side, continuously using heat. So, like I said, the heat on this tank isn't the higher damage one, but it will penetrate and you'll keep a vehicle there. So I damage his engine. It looks like he repairs his tracks, pushes up. I switched to my HE rounds. I don't remember why I switched to my HE rounds. I think because I thought I could penetrate the rear end without having to use much anything else. So yep, there he goes, able to pen pretty easily. And I think I actually bounced a shot from that waffle, that mini waffle. I don't know how I did it, but he somehow managed to miss me, because I did hear, when I was playing, I heard a thing. I was like, what the hell shot at me? Oh, it's this guy. So I'm going to use my awesome mobility. Once again, this is a light tank. This is what you can do in light tank. You can make tanks just look stupid. Especially tanks that take a long time to aim. So I shoot a couple times here with my HE, obviously not getting a clean pen. But I'm going to use my awesome mobility and his awful aim time to get away. So I make sure that he's no longer aiming at me. I get around, and once again, since I'm so fast, I can come back different end. And because I know I'm speed, I know he's low on health, I do what I love to do, kamikaze, for the final kill. So I get my 3 kills, awesome penetrations, I get the final kill, and let's see the stats. So here we go, battle stats, victory, obviously, 116,000 credits after having to repair my tank and resupply. Ace tanker, obviously, for 3,500 damage, 300 assisted, and 15 penetrations. So there you go, awesome light tank footage. Yeah, leave a like below, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.